James, do you want to start this time?
Yeah, Brendon, sorry to come in hard and fast, but how do you feel about your future? Do you still have the desire to continue with Ben Stokes, your good friend, stepping down?
I'll get on to Stokes in a sec. I think from my point of view, my enthusiasm and commitment to English cricket, it's never wavered, and that's certainly the case now. I'm excited about the opportunity of where this cricket team can get to. I think if I look back to Lords was a nice improvement of what we wanted to be as a side. I thought we executed beautifully. We had poise under pressure when we needed to, and obviously got the result we wanted to. Roll on to the second test. Second test was what it was, and then here I thought for a lot of this test match we played some good cricket, but ultimately were outplayed by a New Zealand side who were just relentless in everything that they did, and it's disappointing to lose a series. Obviously we came in with high hopes and going 1-0 up, we had high expectations as well, but sometimes you've got to put your hand up and say you're outplayed, but it still doesn't diminish the drive that you've got to do this job and to continue to shape this cricket team moving forward. And
have you been given the backing of those above you at the ECB to continue?
Look, we have constant communication with the two Richards in particular, and there's a really good working relationship across the entire ECB. I feel very lucky to have the support throughout my time so far, with everyone at the ECB, and I'm pretty sure the plan is that we just keep cracking on.
And Ben Stokes has just endorsed Harry Brook to succeed him as captain. Would you echo that sentiment?
Look, I think from our point of view, now's not the time to make those decisions. I think we need to take a little bit of time. We've got time on our side as well in terms of the next test series, and the good thing is we've got a lot of strong leaders within the side and good candidates to be able to step into the role. Now, they won't be Ben Stokes. Stokesy was an inspirational captain who he's a true leader of men, and he did things with total conviction. And I think it would be unfair to expect the next captain to lead in the same manner. I think it's important as a leader that you lead with authenticity and in the same sort of the same characteristics that you like to live your life and you like to see the game played. So I don't think it would be fair to compare the two. But for now, we also wanted to spend our time celebrating what has been an amazing time with Stokesy at the helm.
I'd like to talk about Ben as a leader. He's a pretty handy cricketer as well. Are you worried as coach of this team that he might be irreplaceable and that the team just got worse?
Look, I think if you look around all the international cricket teams, they're all searching for a seam bowling all-rounder that can bat in the top 7. Ben Stokes has been that for England for the last 13 years, and he's helped balance cricket test sides throughout that time. And they don't jump out of trees, those types of cricketers, as every international coach will say about their own teams. So it's going to be very difficult to replace them from that point of view. But I do think there's some immense talent which sits within English cricket, and it's an opportunity for someone to put their hand up and say, I want to command that position, and I want to make the best of it to be able to ensure that I have a long, sustained career, just like Stokes has had. And I think the other aspect about Stokes is that he's inspired so many players that they're out there playing the game through how he went about things, and there will be elements of whoever comes into that position where they would have looked up to Ben Stokes over the time. And sometimes it takes someone to leave an organisation or leave a dressing room for the impact to almost become even more heightened. So whoever gets the opportunity, I'm sure they will make good fist of it.
Will?
Brendon, could one man captain England in all formats?
Again, well, I think it's one of those things we need to just take a bit of time and to work out. I think we've got some good candidates and some strong leaders within the side. So, we'll work through that, and then we'll come up with what we think is the right option.
And do you see there being more than 2 candidates?
Again, we've got some good, strong leaders, Will, and many good candidates to be able to look at and to be able to work out what our next step is. But I'm very confident that whoever it is that steps in, they'll do a good job, and they'll have a good network of leaders underneath them as well, which I think is vitally important to be able to ensure that we've got that collaborative approach across our tactics and our implementation of those.
Chris.
Just wondered on Timeframe, so the new captain to replace Ben, do you know when that will be? When would you like that to be? Also, I thought the Pakistan series, but is it sooner rather than later, or do you need a bit of time?
We'll definitely be having those conversations in the next few days. In terms of announcing, I don't know when they will be just yet, because this is obviously quite fresh, and we want to make sure that we go through the right process to ensure that we give the next captain every opportunity to be successful.
And then just on the result here, since the first time England lost a series of more than 3 tests in 14 years, comes back at the Ashes, a lot of people are saying, actually, maybe you should go as well. Do you understand that kind of viewpoint, or, what's your take on that?
Yeah, Chris, of course, you understand kind of that there's a lot of emotion around things, and obviously when you lose, it's incredibly disappointing. When you take jobs like this, though, you know that not every day is going to be easy. You know that there's going to be days where you have to continue to navigate through difficult times and tough moments, and to keep projecting forward to what you think the vision for your side is, and how you're able to shape that along the way. And again, for me, my enthusiasm and my commitment to English cricket has never wavered.
Julian.
Yeah. Tom Latham talked about importance that New Zealand would play old school cricket. Do you feel there's anything your side can learn from the way New Zealand went about this series?
Yeah, you're always you're always looking at opposition teams and how you try and tactically outdo them, but New Zealand is a side that they do simple things really well for a long period of time, and they've been very successful at it. They also seize really key moments, and I look at even 2 direct hit run-outs today. It's a significant impact on a game on the final day of a test match. And from our point of view, we want to keep evolving. We want to become a team which we still have an identity about us, that we have the ability to put teams under pressure, but we also want to have the ability, like we did at Lords, to be able to identify moments in games where the result is teetering, and to be able to make calm decisions under pressure, which allows you to be able to manoeuvre your side into a winning position. And I guess from our point of view, in this game, we're behind the game a lot of it. 317 for none. It's quite a big sort of head start you're giving away. But from that point, we're always trying to work our way back into the game. And last night, our tactics around how we batted, I think, we looked at the game, looked at the situation where we're going to have to bat last on day 5 on a pitch which, when the ball gets soft, is going to be very difficult to be able to have a high cruising speed in terms of run rate without an elevated sense of risk. So we kind of worked out that anywhere between 250 to 290 on the last day is achievable. Anything over that, and you're going to start to be a little bit in danger. So we knew we had to take a risk because we were so far behind the game. We wanted to maximise the new ball, and also the batting conditions in the afternoon throughout this test match have actually been a lot easier than the morning, and it was a risk that we thought was worth taking. Now, of course, we didn't want to be 4 down overnight, but at least we entered today, even with 4 down, we still entered today knowing that we have to score 3 runs in over, which we felt was manageable. And if we could get the game down the line where there was jeopardy in the result, then perhaps New Zealand may miss a little bit more with the accuracy and the relentlessness which they'd operated with. So that was our tactical play with it. It didn't come off, but I don't believe we would have been in a situation where we could have fought our way back into the game unless we were able to make a play like that.
John.
Did you try to talk Ben round?
Yes.
Clearly not with much success.
You know, Ben. No, with no success whatsoever, actually. When Stokes and I, we've been talking a lot, particularly in the last couple of weeks, and I won't go into those conversations with Stokesy because they're private. I had an inkling something like this may happen, but when he grabbed me yesterday morning when we arrived at the ground and he said, "Baz, I'm done," and I said, "Slow down." I was like, "Just slow down with it. You don't need to make any rash decisions right now. Like, let's just talk through this." And he said, "No, Baz, honestly, I'm done. I'm content. I'm happy. I'm done." So from that point, sort of took 10, 15 seconds maybe of us sitting there in silence, and then kind of said, "Oh, I'm a bit sad." and he was like, "Yeah," I said, "It is what it is, but I'm happy. I've done what I wanted to do in the game. I've done what I wanted to do with this team, and now's the right time." So from that point on, it's been about trying to celebrate what he's done for English cricket, the moments where he's captivated the imagination and the hearts of everyone that supported English cricket. To me, he's a personality that almost transcends the sport, such as his vivacious character and his bloody mindedness and his courage that he shows on the field, and they're traits which need to stay within the English dressing room. Just because he leaves it, those traits need to stay in the dressing room, and that'll be the challenge, and that'll be the message to the boys later on tonight. As while Stokesy walks on to the next chapter of his life, let's make sure that some of those things which he's left behind remain.
Orders.
Brendan, just a thought on, as a former keeper, on Tom Blundell's performance and the influence he had on the series up at the start in particular.
Yeah, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Seems to be we keep coming up against these keepers who just raise the bar a little bit when it comes to that tactic. It's an outstanding tactic, right? And it's hard, and we're still trying to navigate our way through what the right sort of counter tactic to that tactic is, because it does stymie our scoring and it limits our options quite significantly. I think we saw a little bit last night where we tried to improvise a little bit and try and knock the bowlers off the metronomical length which they've been able to operate. But it takes courage to do, right? Like, to stand up to fast bowlers on a pitch which is going up and down and it's got cracks which are moving laterally as well, doesn't come without its own physical risk, let alone your skill element being questioned too. But I thought he was absolutely outstanding, and again, it was one of those tactics that we're going to have to continue thinking long and hard about to be able to overcome, because more teams will implement that against us.
Cool. Vish.
As you obviously know Ben really well, he told us, and I suppose he told me on media yesterday, that when he arrived at Lords for the first test, he didn't feel right. He knew something was up. You're obviously quite a perceptive person. Were your spidey senses tingling at that point?
I missed that last bit, sorry.
Did you sense that something was up? Sorry, with him, the start of the series?
No, I wouldn't. I knew he was fiercely determined to keep us evolving as a side, which we were 100% in agreement with, that we need to improve and develop and evolve as a cricket team without losing the identity of who we are. So I knew that he was driven from that point of view to improve things. I guess with his own game, I think he was wanting a bit more out of his own game as well. And I guess from Stokes' point of view, perhaps that he felt the end was coming, and as a player who's been in that situation before, once you start realising that, it is such a hard thought to get out of your head. You can't unthink it, if that makes sense. And so that and it does what it also does. It stops your ability to see stuff clearly sometimes as well. I think you've always got that out in the back of your head that you can go to, and then it makes the disappointment feel more severe. It makes the success feel better as well, but it makes things a little bit unbalanced. And I think in the end, over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot that's gone on. We're saying goodbye to one of the great England players and a captain who we've all appreciated for 4 years, and someone who I certainly have appreciated working with throughout that time as closely as what we have.
When you were trying to talk him round, how much of it was, I suppose, also linked to your enthusiasm, and I suppose the idea that you and him shouldn't have ended like this here, it should be, after the Ashes next year?
Well, I didn't probably. He was at the stage. I guess. Geez, I'm jumbling around here. I feel like he was very definitive in his thought process, whereas in my head, I hadn't really had him at that stage yet. So I thought there was still room for negotiation. There wasn't. So it was very quickly. We just moved on from that point, and then we started just talking about some of the great times we've had over the last 4 years, and just started trying to celebrate some of that stuff. And we haven't always got what we wanted out of the last 4 years. We've missed opportunities. We're all aware of that. But that's just life, right? Sometimes you don't always get what you want. So it doesn't stop the fact that we've had an unbelievable experience over 4 years. One of the best experiences I've had in my cricket career has been working with Stokesy so closely, and we've achieved some really cool things along the way. The project isn't finished yet in regards to where we think we can get to, but obviously Stokesy's just kind of run out of steam a little bit, and that happens to a lot of captains. It's from a coach's point of view, you don't have to go out there and bat and bowl, so the scrutiny level is different. From a player's point of view, you've still got to steel yourself with that courage and enthusiasm to get out there and still try and find runs and still try and take wickets, so it's slightly different.
Final one, Matt, at the back.
Baz, now you know what you know and why we've ended up at this point with Baz retiring. As a collective, as an organisation, would you look to do anything different if something like Lords happens again? The aftermath of Lords and the night club, etc.
Sorry, I was just focusing on you saying Baz was retiring. So, look, none of that was ideal, right? The last few weeks have been tough on a lot of people, and it's had a lot of impact, and there's been a lot of things that we've had to navigate right throughout, and that's not easy. How you handle that, the decisions you make, you've got to make decisions, and that's ultimately, we have standards which we want to live by, and we need to stand for. If those standards aren't lived up to, you can't walk past that, because that's what kills cultures. You still need an element of discipline and standards within a sporting environment, because you are representing the English people. You're representing, it's a big organisation. There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of people. It's high stakes, and it's professional sport. So there is standards there. You don't want to kill the joy, but there's time and place for all of that as well. But you try and deal with each situation on a case-by-case basis.
And you explained the tactical decision last night earlier. Do you worry that you're losing the support of the general fan if you're losing those sort of ways again and again and again?
Look, we appreciate all our fans. I mean, we get unbelievable support wherever we go. Every game is pretty much sold out, and you go on the road and you get phenomenal support, especially from the Barmy Army as well. We are incredibly appreciative of the support that we do get. We have an identity about us, we believe. It's not finished yet, it's not completely screwed down, and we do need to keep improving. I have no qualms about saying we're not the finished article. But there are times where you need to stick or twist in games. We were well behind the game because of the conditions and because of how difficult, which I think I've summed up before in regards to scoring rates and the deterioration of the pitch, and the way that the New Zealand bowlers operate too. You have to be prepared to make a play to be able to give you some chance in the game. It's not just a matter of just trying to bat time in that situation. That is not going to work in that situation. It's different. When Daryl Mitchell and Rachin Ravindra did it, it's different because they're in front of the game and the conditions are not as extreme, and the bowling that they're going to face is not quite so metronomical. It's a different type of bowling attack. So that whilst their approach was perfect for what they needed, and if we were in that situation, I would hope that we would be able to replicate that same style. But in the situation we found ourselves, we needed to do something different, and that was the play we made. It wasn't successful, but it was the only chance we had of winning the game.
All right, thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been about 36 hours.